The great chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. Ambassador of the Empire stood frozen, his four arms hanging limply at his sides. His golden eyes blinked several times as if trying to process what he had just heard. Around him, representatives from 12 different species sat in stunned silence. The humans had just said no. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Alliance had ruled the known universe. They controlled trade routes, maintained peace between warring species, and offered protection to younger civilizations. Every species that had ever been invited to join had accepted without hesitation. It was considered the greatest honor in the galaxy. The Alliance brought wealth, technology, and safety. No one had ever refused. Until today. Human Ambassador Sarah stood at the center of the chamber. She was small compared to most of the aliens around her. They stood nearly 3 meters tall. They had armored bodies that could withstand plasma fire. The aquatic Delphians floated in their water tanks, their massive forms casting shadows across the floor. Yet this tiny human female had just done what no species had ever done before. She had politely declined their offer. High Chancellor finally broke the silence. He was the oldest member of the council, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell. His voice echoed through the chamber like distant thunder. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding, Ambassador. We are offering your species full membership in the Galactic Alliance. This includes access to faster-than-light technology, medical advances that could extend human by centuries, and protection from any hostile forces in the galaxy. Sarah nodded respectfully. We understand the offer completely, High Chancellor, and we are grateful for the consideration, but humanity must respectfully decline. Whispers spread through the chamber like wildfire. They clicked their mandibles in confusion. They exchanged glances of disbelief. Even the usually calm Delphians stirred in their tanks with visible agitation. Ambassador stepped forward. His voice carried a hint of frustration. Do your people understand what they are refusing? Without our protection, you will remain vulnerable. There are dangers in the galaxy that your species cannot imagine. The Shade Collective alone has destroyed over 40 civilizations. They consume entire worlds, and you would face such threats alone. Sarah met his gaze without flinching. We appreciate your concern for our safety, but we have faced dangers before. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that nearly destroyed us. We have climbed out of extinction events that killed most life on our planet. Humanity has always found a way to survive. Chancellor's crystalline form flickered with what might have been irritation. This is not about survival alone, Ambassador. This is about progress, about joining a community of civilizations that spans the galaxy. Why would you choose isolation over unity? Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment she had prepared for, the real reason behind humanity's decision. May I speak freely, High Chancellor? Of course. We have studied your alliance carefully. We have observed how it operates, and we have concerns. The chamber fell silent again. No one had ever criticized the alliance before, made a sound that might have been a laugh. Concerns. We have brought peace to the galaxy for 3,000 years. What concerns could you possibly have? Sarah pulled up a holographic display from her wrist device. Images began to appear in the air before her. These are They joined your alliance 800 years ago. Before joining, they were known as fierce warriors with a rich culture of art and music. They built magnificent cities and wrote poetry that moved even those who did not speak their language. The images showed a proud species with bright feathers and sharp eyes. Cities of crystal rose behind them. Then the images changed. The same species appeared, but something was different. Their eyes were dull. Their feathers had lost their color. They stood in straight lines, working in factories. After joining the alliance, they were assigned to manufacturing. Your council decided this was their best use. Within 200 years, their art had disappeared. Their music was forgotten. Their warrior spirit was bred out of them through genetic modification programs. Today, they are efficient workers, nothing more. Shifted uncomfortably. They adapted to serve the greater good of the Alliance. All species must contribute. Sarah nodded. Yes, they adapted. They had no choice. Your alliance does not truly unite species. It absorbs them. It takes what makes each species unique and grinds it down until only useful parts remain. She changed the display again. There were brilliant scientists. They had theories about the nature of space and time that were centuries ahead of their development. When they joined the Alliance, their research was classified as dangerous. Their scientists were reassigned. Today, they work as miners on asteroid fields. Their scientific knowledge is lost forever. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some of the younger representatives looked at each other with uncertainty. They had never heard anyone speak this way about the Alliance. High Chancellor's voice boomed across the room. You dare to judge us. We have maintained peace for. Without the Alliance, the galaxy would fall into chaos and war. Sarah did not back down. Peace is not the same as freedom, High Chancellor. A prison can be peaceful too. Every species in your alliance has given up something fundamental about themselves to belong. There were once explorers who mapped unknown regions of space. Now they serve as your soldiers and diplomats. There were artists who created sculptures that could take centuries to complete. Now they manufacture weapons. She turned to face the entire council. We have looked at your alliance and we see the price that must be paid. You do not want partners, you want pieces. You want to take humanity and reshape us into whatever role you decide we should fill. Perhaps we would become your warriors, perhaps your scientists, perhaps your workers, but we would no longer be human. Stepped closer to her, his 4 arms crossed over his chest. And you believe your tiny species can survive alone in this galaxy. You have no faster than light travel. Your weapons are primitive. You have barely left your own solar system. Without us, you will be conquered or destroyed within a century. Sarah smiled. It was not a nervous smile or a polite one. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. That is where you are wrong, Ambassador. We do have faster than light travel. We developed it ourselves 3 years ago. We have been exploring the galaxy quietly while your scouts watched our system. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Several ambassadors rose from their seats. They clicked in rapid conversation. The Delphians sent waves of sonic communication through their tanks. Chancellor raised a hand for silence. This is impossible. Our sensors would have detected any such development. Your sensors detected what we wanted them to detect, Sarah replied. We learned long ago that showing your full strength makes you a target, so we let you believe we were primitive. We let you think we needed your help. She pulled up new images. Ships appeared on the display. They were not the crude rockets the Alliance had observed. These were sleek vessels with designs unlike anything the Council had seen. They moved in ways that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Our technology is different from yours because we developed it alone. We did not copy your methods. We found our own path, and in some ways we believe we have surpassed you. Stared at the images with growing alarm. Why show us this now? Why reveal your strength? Sarah let the display fade. Because we want you to understand why we are saying no. We are not refusing out of ignorance or fear. We are refusing because we know exactly what your alliance is, and we choose to remain ourselves instead. She walked toward the center of the chamber, her voice carrying to every corner. Humanity is messy. We fight among ourselves. We make mistakes. We can be cruel and selfish and short-sighted, but we are also dreamers. We create art that makes us weep with beauty. We compose music that touches something deep in our souls. We tell stories that have been passed down for thousands of years. We love and hate and hope and fear, and all of those things make us who we are. She paused, looking at each representative in turn. Your alliance would take all of that and smooth it away. You would make us efficient, useful, predictable, and we would rather die as humans than live as something else. The chamber was absolutely silent. High Chancellor spoke slowly. You realize that refusing our offer makes you a potential threat. Unaligned species with advanced technology cannot be tolerated. Sarah had expected this. Then you will have to decide what kind of alliance you truly are. If you attack us, you will prove that everything I have said is correct. You do not offer friendship. You offer submission with a friendly face. She straightened her shoulders and faced the council directly. But if you let us go in peace, perhaps something new can begin. Perhaps there can be true partnership, trade between equals, cooperation without absorption. We are offering you something more valuable than another conquered species. We are offering you a mirror to see what you have become. The silence stretched for a long moment. Finally, a voice spoke from the back of the chamber. It was old ambassador of the. He had been quiet throughout the entire meeting. His people had been among the first to join the alliance over 2,000 years ago. She speaks truth, he said quietly. I remember what my people once were. I have seen the records of our history before the alliance. We were different then, wild and creative and free. I had forgotten what that felt like until this human reminded me. Other voices began to join his. Questions that had never been asked were suddenly being spoken aloud. Doubts that had been buried for centuries came rising to the surface. Sarah watched as something changed in the chamber. She had not expected to start a revolution. She had only wanted to explain why humanity would walk its own path. But sometimes, a single voice was all it took to break a silence that had lasted too long. High Chancellor studied her for a long moment. His crystalline form shifted through colors that humans could not name. You are either very brave or very foolish, Ambassador. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Perhaps both, High Chancellor. Humans often are. She turned and walked toward the exit. Behind her, she heard the council erupting into debate. Some demanded that humanity be punished for their arrogance. Others asked questions about the history had mentioned. A few wondered if the alliance had lost something important along the way. At the door, Sarah paused and looked back. We will be out there among the stars, following our own path. If you ever want true allies instead of subjects, you know where to find us. Then she was gone, leaving the greatest power in the galaxy to wonder if a species they had dismissed as primitive had just taught them something about themselves. The humans had turned down the alliance, and in doing so, they had reminded the galaxy what it meant to be free.